Alrighty, welcome back to another episode of the College Baseball Show, brought to you by Just Baseball Media. I'm Jared. That's Mark with us, but we have a very special guest with us today. Head coach of North Carolina baseball, Scott Forbes. Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm awesome, man. Beautiful day here in Chapel Hill. Not a cloud in the sky. Team practice has started. It's not freezing cold. It's going to be about 57. So anytime it's not cold, I'm even happier. That's for sure.
I love it. Coach, well, we can't thank you enough for joining the show. The first question we kind of kick off with for the new guests that we have on is just give a little background on your journey in coaching and kind of how you got to where you are today.
Man, I always laugh when somebody asks me that question because it blows my mind that I'm sitting in this chair as a head coach at North Carolina. I actually grew up in a small town about 30 miles from here, Sanford. I was on the dark side growing up and brainwashed, so my whole family was NC State. And then I played for Coach Fox. I went to a junior college in Georgia. Middle Georgia Junior College at the time was a really strong junior college. Left there after a year. Went to North Carolina Wesleyan, who had recruited me out of high school. I wasn't the student that I should have been or needed to be, so my options were limited. But I'm glad they were limited because it took me to Rocky Mount, North Carolina, to play for Hall of Fame coach Mike Fox. Loved it there. Met my wife there. Learned so much there from Coach Fox, especially discipline, those type of things, which I needed at the time. I was a pretty rough around the edges, junior college bandit, as we call our JUCO guys. And then, loved it there. Coach built a powerhouse there, so we were always top 5 in the country. Played in the Division III World Series, which was a great highlight. And then I had another year of school left. I was on the 5-year plan, not the 4-year plan. And we all think we're going to get drafted. That didn't happen. So Coach asked me to be a student assistant. So it kind of started there, but really I was just doing it for fun, just to have something to do. Because, I'd never been in a program like that, and you're so structured, and you get into the weight room and you get into that, those routines. I thought it would be good for me, and I enjoyed the heck out of it. But then that season ended, 1998. We made it to the Division III World Series again. Had a great team, all my buddies that I played with, so that was fun to go there and coach. And then Coach Fox got hired here in North Carolina. I'd actually already moved back home and was doing landscaping. My dad was a builder, construction, real estate. And at the time I thought, okay, this would be pretty cool. I love being outside. I'd like to start with the landscaping side and then maybe jump in with him on how to build houses and develop neighborhoods. So I was actually just mowing grass one day, and Coach Fox calls me and says, hey, do you have interest in coming to North Carolina and being my third assistant / volunteer assistant? I am dating my wife at the time, but I'm not engaged. I really didn't have – I talked to my dad that day. He's like, what do you think? He's like, well, depends on if you want to coach. I said, I really don't know if I want to coach. I guess the only way is to go do it. So I came up Chapel Hill one day, met with Coach Fox, walked around, and I was like, why not? But literally it was a volunteer. So that was the part that was the hardest. You're making a couple $1,000s here or there with camps. But that's when it started at UNC. I was fortunate to work with Roger Williams and Chad Holbrook, 2 great coaches, the other 2 assistants. I was here for 4 years. And then after the 2002 season, I took the job at Winthrop as the hitting coach and recruiting coordinator / strength coach. We still laugh about that. Definitely was not certified as a strength and conditioning coach, but I have really close relationships with those guys at Winthrop and Rock Hill. We had 3 really good teams. My last year in 2005, we made a regional. We were the 2 seed in the Knoxville regional. That team at Tennessee in 2005, I believe, went to Omaha. But we had a great year, and I left that summer. Ironically, I took the hitting coach / recruiting coordinator job at East Carolina in the summer of 2005. I was there 17 days. Coach Fox calls me, said, Roger Williams left to go to Georgia. I want to hire you as the pitching coach. So I accepted the job immediately because it is what it is. It's my former coach and 30 minutes from my hometown, and been back here since. So been really, really lucky and blessed. I was a pitching coach here 10 years. when Coach Jackson went to Liberty, he's back here now. I hired him back here last year, which is awesome. Robert Woodard came here to be our pitching coach. So I went back to doing, whatever, recruiting, which you recruit no matter what, even if you're not, quote, the recruiting coordinator. And then COVID hit, and Coach Fox called me in his office one day and said, I think it's time for me to retire. And I really didn't have any idea if I was going to get the job or not. It was a pretty stressful week, to be honest with you. I didn't know if it would be an interim deal or what it would be. Bubba Cunningham, I guess, took a flyer on me and got the opportunity in the fall of 2020 or summer. And here we are already starting our 6th season. So been a really neat ride where coaching has taken me. And what's been most unique about it is I really thought I'd probably move all over the country to maybe one day be in a position like this. When I first started, I never even envisioned being a head coach at a school like North Carolina. But as I got older, I started thinking about being a head coach, and I thought, well, I'll probably go somewhere where it's a flight away from my family, and to be able to coach at a program like this and then be able to hop in my truck, be in a deer stand where I grew up, or just go visit with my family. My brother lives in Sanford, my dad, my sister. So it's been a blessing.
Yeah, I love that, Coach. That's awesome. Talking about pitching coach, talk about this staff this year. I mean, you guys have a ton of arms returning, a bunch of guys with a lot of innings. Does it give you just a little bit of confidence where you go, hey, I know what these guys are about. I know what they can do. Let's plug and play.
Yeah, 100%. Coach Gaines and Coach Jackson just left my office. I have an unbelievable staff. So it's just, I look so forward to every day, but they make me look forward to it even more. They're ahead of me. I mean, they're in here. I'm just in here drinking a cup of coffee, trying to get my thoughts together. And they're like, Forbes, you in the office? And they're ready to go, like get the practice plan ready. Coach Gaines has done a phenomenal job with our pitching staff. Coach Howell, who is with him every day, is our director of pitching performance and analytics. And he was the pitching coach at Wilmington, Georgia Tech. We've got some returners. They have a lot of experience, but it's the culture of our pitching staff that I feel the greatest about, because they're challenged, they're pushed. They know last year doesn't matter. You got to do it again. And we've got some new guys that I feel like are going to really push them, which you need, so guys don't get complacent. But it's a staff with a lot of experience, which is good, makes you feel better as a coach. And we got some guys back off injury that we really missed last year, and Matty Mathias and Kyle Percival. So, I'm looking forward to the preseason, just figuring out what roles are going to be best for us as a team to have success. So, but it's fun for sure.
Yeah, Coach, and just kind of shifting to the offensive side, you lose a big piece in Luke Stevenson, but you get to replace him with a guy like Mac Winslow, who came over from Duke. Talk about what you've seen from the offense this fall, and what are some of the expectations going into next year?
Yeah, I mean, throughout the season, I'm thinking, all right, we're going to lose Hunter Stokely, our first baseman, Jackson Vanderbreg, our second baseman, Madera, our shortstop, our catcher, Luke Stevenson. We're going to lose Kane Kepley, our center fielder, Tyson Bass, our right fielder, and then Carter French was playing. He's going to be back. So wait a second, we're going to return 2 players. Like, holy crap. And that is the beauty of the transfer portal, in my opinion. You don't have to rely on 7 freshmen to fill that, or even junior college guys. I still love junior college players, and they've been a big part of our program. But throughout the season, we knew what we were looking for. We were patient, and we knew we had to go to work in the portal. But we do still return, our cat who was named captain, Gavin Gallagher, this year. Heck of a player, a leader. And then to be able to get a Macon Winslow, out of the portal with that much experience. It caught every day at an ACC school. A lot of people are like, I can't believe he went from Duke to North Carolina. Well, he's a North Carolina kid. Him and Luke were in the same class. It just kind of happened that way. But I think Macon will say after being here, like, he's glad he's here. And I don't look at it that way. I look at it that we're lucky that he went in the portal, and we're lucky to have him. Mm-hmm. And then add in Colin Heineck, who's our other catcher this year, big-time OPS, caught every day at Georgia State. That's a great league. So I feel really good about our depth behind the plate. And I like the pieces we got out of the portal. A lot of these guys have shown that they deserve to play instantly, especially Paulson, Schaffner, and Owen Hull in premium positions. So the rest is going to be competitive and left and right. And I like Cooper Nicholson, the JUCO kid right now at third. But moving Gavin to the middle is going to be good for us and also good for him. I like to have, a guy like that in the middle infield with that much athleticism. So it's an exciting lineup with some depth. Honestly, I feel like we have more depth this year than we had last year. Last year, I felt like if we had an injury to one of those guys, it was going to be really tough we just didn't have that utility infielder or a guy that you could just put right in and could play all three. And we have a freshman this year in AJ Terry. It's really shown he can play third, short, and second, which gives me that. We had Kobe Wilkson. He was like that when he first got here, and that just gives me a little more ease, I guess. You don't want any injuries, but defense with this pitching staff is a premium for us.
Yeah, Coach. You talked about Gallagher going to be one of the captains of this team. You guys seem to replace these leaders, and these guys train the next leader and the next guy up, and then the next season it just seems to keep breeding. Is that something you guys preach for your guys, or is that something that they've kind of taken upon themselves and you guys just add to it as a staff?
Yeah, that's a big part of our culture. We talk about meeting the standard and understanding what our culture is when you get here, and it matters. Culture is the myth about the portal, is it still matters. You got to get the right guys, and you can use the portal and it can be effective, but it's not going to be if you get the wrong guys, because the guys that are already here do understand what we do on a daily basis, how we do it, what the expectations are. And that's where coaching comes in. I tell our guys, they're not changing. Like they're going to be what they are. So it's up to you to meet them on a daily basis. And if you can't meet them, you just need to be the opposite and go in the portal, because it's not going to work for you. So, but these guys, they buy into it. They believe in it. They understand the importance of team first mentality. But there's more to it too at UNC from the standpoint of the human element of, okay, yeah, we want to win a ton of games, but we want to, like Bill Walsh says in his book, the score will take care of itself if you're doing the little things also away from here the right way. So, it's fun to watch that, Mark. It's fun to watch our guys, like a guy like Matty Mathias, who barely speaks when he gets here, and all of a sudden be voted as a captain. But, we made the final decision as coaches to learn, like, hey, sometimes I can't just be a lead by example guy. There's a cost to leadership. And I tell these guys, you have to have uncomfortable conversations to be a leader as a player. So, I'm proud of those guys for understanding and paying attention to the guys that have come before them and showed them how to lead.
Yeah, Coach, I love that. I want to shift a little bit the conversation to the upcoming schedule coming up this year. You have a very strong non-con schedule, and then of course ACC schedule is a gauntlet no matter what year it is. But the couple things that kind of stuck out to me too. I think Stanford came to you all last year, and then this year you're actually going out west to Cal. How do you kind of prepare for those kind of big West Coast trips that you don't usually have on the schedule?
Yeah, we put a lot of thought into that, and we spend a lot of time on sleep, how to get more sleep, your nutrition, your diet. So we've planned ahead on that. We're actually going to go out Wednesday. That's the plus of having some online classes. And we're going to go out Wednesday to try to get acclimated. And we're actually going to come back Monday. We won't play a Tuesday game. We'll play a Wednesday game. On the reverse side of that, I tell our guys, it is what it is. All you guys want to play in the big leagues, you got to be able to handle it. We're not making excuses here. We had to go to Cal, and all of a sudden we got Coastal. Well, if we had Coastal on Tuesday, you got to strap it on and figure it out. And I tell the guys too, you're young. Like, I don't want to hear this crap. If you're taking care of your body, you're getting your sleep. But we do plan on and work on that and say, okay, how can we try to perform at our peak? But it still boils down to what you do before you go out there. Are you taking care of your body? Are you getting your sleep? So I look at it more like, I'm such a huge process-oriented coach, completely taken from Nick Saban, who is like my coaching idol. And I believe it works. And I believe you have to focus on us and what we're doing and be careful focusing too much about, on the situation. Like, we got to go to Cal. We're not chartering that trip, deal with it, and we'll be ready for it when we get out there. We'll be prepared for it if we're doing what we're supposed to do, like right now, because you guys know, like, you get a day like today, 55 degrees in North Carolina, you go, because tomorrow could be 42, the next day could be 60. It's North Carolina. But everybody has challenges. And when Indiana rolls in here, it's cold in Indiana, but they're going to be ready to play North Carolina. So it's more about us preparing than anything else.
Yeah, that's why we got to mark up at 6 a.m. for this interview. Get them ready to cover
Dang
those
right.
early East Coast games.
Yeah. Early bird gets the worm, buddy.
Absolutely.
Still our guys.
I'm up every day for it. I got work after this, and I got my whole staff of 178 people, so I'm always ready, Coach.
Got to be, don't you?
Yes, 100%. They count on me, and I count on them, so it works equal with both ways. Talking about that, talk a little bit about just your home ballpark, Coach. Every time you guys host a regional, it just seems electric, and this crowd shows up, and this just baseball bred into what North Carolina baseball is now. Just speak a little bit about how nice it is to be able to play those games at home, those big games at home.
Yeah, ironically, I was looking way back at 2006 at the attendance and the revenue, and college baseball, number one, is booming. To all the administrators out there, obviously, I tell our administrators every day, like, they need to take college baseball is not an Olympic sport. It's just not. It's one of the big three, and just watch it. Watch the World Series, but not even the World Series. Look at these regionals. And I've been at UNC a long time, and to watch it be the hardest ticket, 2 years ago in 24, we could play LSU's in here. We find a way to beat them. Then we have West Virginia. Those tickets are going for big prices. The place is packed. People are getting here early. There are tents everywhere. They're hanging out in the field hockey stadium. We just had to tell them last year it was so packed they started throwing old baseballs at Duke right fielder. So we don't want that to happen. But you want a home field advantage, and that's a credit to our people, committing to it and working on it. And the players, I think our players, number one, are the reason they're coming to watch, because they're fun to watch. But that is huge, and creating some type of – we really haven't had that until more recently. Our fans had decided and understood, like, hey, we do matter, and we need to be loud, and we don't need to sit on our tails the whole game, because when we go over to NC State, they're going to give it to us. When we go to the jungle at East Carolina, so we want the same advantage in a respectful way. And then the concessions, and you can come to a college game now and get a beer and a hot dog. And I read an article, I think it was 2 days ago on MLB.com or a little bit ago, about how, especially the ACC and SEC and some other teams, they're considering that like the minor leagues now and the big leagues. Like, there are guys that can almost go. You got relievers that threw 20 innings last year that come out of the bullpen 94, 97. So they're really paying attention to that, and it's going to continue to grow because the support's there and people like watching it. But we've really worked hard to keep our facility upgraded. Underneath, we have all the state-of-the-art technology. We just added Traject. But also, what's a great game day experience, and how can we enhance that game day experience and make sure that the fans want to come back and they enjoy being here while they're here. So that's been really, really neat.
Yeah, Coach, I think your point's spot on too. Like, you think of you mentioned, like, the price of Major League Baseball now, even price of minor league baseball games. Like, you get a family of four and you want to go take your family to a baseball game. Like, college baseball is the perfect place to do that. It's affordable. You can kind of take the whole family out, get really good baseball, like some of the best baseball in the entire country.
Yeah, you're seeing guys, get to the big leagues quick. You're seeing a high level, and you still get to see the team. That's the one thing, like our guys say, the hardest part for them, the minor leagues. It is what it is. Great development. I love professional baseball, so I'm not knocking the minor leagues. But, if you win a AA championship, it's not that big a deal. So you're not, you get that. Everybody pulling in the same direction, which is a thing of beauty.
Yeah.
Especially with these superstars now showing up on campus. And that's difficult when you get in the minor leagues, and that's all you've done for 2 or 3 years. And then, you don't do that again really until you get to the major leagues.
Yeah.
So there's still a lot of purity to it. But, we're implementing a lot of things too that are making the game quicker. There's a clock. We haven't done the shift thing yet, but it's just a great game to watch. And honestly, I've been coaching a long time, but I'm catching myself every year just really trying to lock in and be like, whoa, these dudes are good.
Yeah.
Heck, we have a Division III transfer last year from where I went to school, Tyson Bass, and I'm like, holy Moses, this is coming from a Division III, and he can flick his wrist and the ball can be over the net. So it's just amazes me. I feel like they just keep getting better, and the training's better, and the game's more dynamic and even more fun to watch. It's always been awesome, but that's neat for me to see too.
Yeah. Coach, speaking of pro ball, I like to kind of focus on individual players, and you had one that got drafted last year in Jake Knapp, who I thought was did not get enough attention for the season he had, 14-0, 2.02 ERA. This kid was an absolute stud on the mound. Talk about what it was like just to coach him and kind of watch him go out and perform every single day.
A unbelievable human being, unbelievable story.
Mm-hmm.
Goes to Wilmington, he just wasn't good enough, he said. Had to go to a junior college. We didn't think he was good enough early. Then we thought he got good enough. Got here, he was okay. Had a lot of work to do. Got better. Really started to break out. Going into 24, he was going to be our Friday night guy. One pitch, done in January. Big blow to us. And honestly, I didn't know, hey, how are we going to recover from this? And for that team to make it to Omaha is a credit to them. But for him to come back to school, do all his rehab. I've met with a lot of kids. I don't know if I've had many come in here and say, Coach, if I come back to school, here's the agreement. The agreement is I'm going to move up my recovery so I can be ready for game one. If I'm a starter, I don't want a pitch count. And if I'm a reliever, I'm going to tell you, you're not going to tell me when I can pitch and when I can't pitch from the standpoint of rest. What am I going to say? I mean, he's getting ready to be 24. I'm like, all right, Jake, obviously I trust you. You know what you need. And so that's how it was last year. We threw him one game out of the bullpen, and he was in the rotation. He never looked back. Unbelievable leader and teammate. We called him Coach Knapp the year before because he just sat beside me and Coach Gaines and locked in. And I don't think he thought he would be back here. I thought he'd probably sign and go ahead and start chasing that dream. But he set the tone for us. And he was rewarded for it. The only thing, obviously, is I really wanted Jake Knapp to pitch in Omaha. But he has no regrets. Worked his tail off. He's in the Cubs organization. 24-year-old eighth rounder isn't too bad. So really, we were just lucky that he chose to come back to school. Yeah,
and I love that story too, just because you said 24-year-old eighth rounder, it's a young person's game, right? You look at a 24-year-old, that's likely not going to happen in the past. But it's awesome just to see kind of his journey and how he got to where he is.
Yeah, the great thing too for him is if he performs, that's not that old in pro ball.
No.
You look at major league rosters, but what they will do is say, hey, he is 24, throw him in the big leagues. Mm-hmm. So I reminded him, hey, man, keep chasing it. It's not going to go perfect, but he's out there early right now with the Cubs, with Kepley. Guys like that, if I'm in a big league club and they throw well, he's been in every situation.
Yeah.
So it ain't going to be that big a deal to him. But to have a guy that big to be able to command the ball like that is unusual. But man, I'm gonna miss that. I'm gonna miss his song was Chris Stapleton's White Horse, and every time I hear it, I'm like, man, I feel like every time that song plays, we're getting ready to win no matter what. So we got some guys hoping they can step in there and grab that Friday night role.
I love it. Mark, do you want to kick off some fun questions? We'll wrap up with a few fun questions here.
All right. Yeah, we'll go quick here for you, Coach. Coach, any game day food or rituals? I know for me, when I was coaching, it was always I needed my Red Vines and I needed my Diet Mountain Dew, and then I was set. I had my Pilot G2 pin to write my lineup, but I needed my Red Vines and I needed my Diet Mountain Dew.
I try not to be superstitious, but I'm definitely titious, as they say. I've got some major routines. I would say now more than ever, game day is more, if there's something, it's just making sure that I'm setting the tone. No true superstitions anymore. More hey, making sure the guys are loose, remind them to have a blast. I say my pregame meal is pretty strict. I'm pretty a plain Jane, nothing that's going to upset my stomach or anything like that. I don't care what the pregame meal. I'm going to probably throw a 90-second whole grain rice with some grilled chicken, and then I'll crush some food after the game, maybe.
I love it.
Depending on if we win or lose, I guess.
Coach, one I got for you is, so when you're away from the field, not thinking about baseball, what are some of the go-to passions for you?
Number one, I love spending time with my family. I have two daughters. One just graduated from UNC Wilmington. Loved watching them play volleyball. She played volleyball in college, beach volleyball, and indoor. And then my younger one's going to play in college. So just spending time with them as much as I possibly can. And then the other is I really enjoy being outside. I'm a huge outdoorsman, love to hunt, especially deer hunt. Haven't been able to fish as much just because of coaching, and just spending time. I have a ton of faith in some Bible studies and trying to get in the Word and having that quiet time when nobody's around to prepare for the day. But really, I would say the spare time is more family oriented or in the woods. That's something that, I try to get, November, I try to be in those woods as much as possible.
Love it. Mark, go over to you for yours.
Oh, Coach, if you were going to take on and say, hey, if it wasn't baseball, what would it have been? Like, I know you said you didn't know you wanted to coach immediately when you got into it. What would it have been if it wasn't baseball?
Oh, shoot, man. Sport-wise, it would have been football for sure. I love playing football in high school. We had a great conference, good teams. We always lost to Richmond, who was a powerhouse in the state of North Carolina or Scotland. But I loved it. Nothing better than like a Friday night football. And I love it now. I love the complexity of, the game, of the plays and defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators, special teams. So for sure, football, just some way getting in that and coaching would have been phenomenal. If not for that, for sure, something outside, learning the trade of, I don't know if I could have picked it up quick enough to actually build the house, but, putting that all together. And my dad was able to develop some neighborhoods. And I just think that's so interesting. As I've gotten older, a dream would be like to be on some hunting show, be like a guide, but I'm not good enough to do that yet. I would be the one with the guide.
I love it. Coach, last one I got for you is, so if you have one message for the North Carolina fans to get them ready for the upcoming season, what would that be?
I mean, be in the seats.
Yeah.
I think this is a fun team. I was just telling Coach Jackson, based on my observation, it's a team that I don't want to practice too much. We'll be prepared, but I want to keep them healthy, kind of like Signetti's done at Indiana. Like, you got to know your team, shorten up practices. I think it's just going to be stay with them. The game's hard, obviously. You're always going to have some ups and downs, but there's something about this group that I really, really feel confident in. Doesn't mean things are going to go perfect. But they've got some toughness. They have some togetherness. I think they're going to be a fun team to watch for sure.
Awesome. Coach, we can't thank you enough for taking the time to join us on the College Baseball Show. We find it a privilege just to be able to sit down with you all and talk with you all, and we know you have busy schedules, so we truly appreciate the time.
Yeah, man. No worries. I love doing stuff like this, kicking it off. It's getting close.
Yeah, I think we'll have a few guys out there. Tyler on our team, Monty on our team. They'll be out at some of the games, so excited to see you all play this year.
Yeah, thank y'all for the attention you're bringing to the game, and y'all have a great rest of your day. I look forward to hopefully meeting you in person.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, man.